Hey everyone, finish watching the next VR Troopers episode, Grimlord's Dark Secret. Ryan finds Jeb, and Jeb fills him in on what JB and Caitlin were going to tell him before they got frozen. He then goes back through the doorway to Hart's lab. Ryan goes back to the cave to look for clues about Grimlord. Grimlord sends Despara out to stop Ryan. Ryan transforms and fights her off. She leaves behind the stones that Doommaster used to freeze the others. Ryan takes them to see if he can reverse the spell. It works. Ryan gives JB and Caitlin the stones so they can go and help Nebraska. Ryan returns to the cave to find out about Grimlord's identity. He's stopped by a new monster, Hydrabot. He defeats it while JB and Caitlin take on the Air Forces. When he tries to look into Grimlord's secret, suddenly everything disappears. Oriclon somehow wished it all away. Jeb comes to warn the troopers that Oriclon is going to close off the dimension. Ryan remembers Nebraska and unfreezes him. The doorway is about to close, but everyone makes it through in time. The box that opened the doorway in the first place disintegrates. This is a pretty good conclusion to the two-parter. Nothing's really changed. I thought since this was a big multi-part episode, there'd be some big shake-up, but everything is status quo by the end. The Scheider footage is all cool, but JB and Caitlin are unfortunately just stuck with the Air Forces again. It's getting kind of repetitive at this point. When Ryan is almost trapped in the ISIS dimension, I thought Nebraska was going to throw a rope in to pull Ryan out, but he just walks in, helps him up, and they leave. I don't really know what the Indiana Jones aspect here was for. I guess the writers or whoever had just watched Indiana Jones and they were like on a kick or something, and they were like, hey, Indiana Jones stuff, let's put that in the show. Speaking of which, the Indiana Jones aspect of this is almost gone now. Nebraska's the only thing that has any kind of Indiana Jones feel to it. Everything else was just imagery in the first episode. The second episode is pretty much just a standard VR Troopers episode. Hydrabot is pretty weird looking. When I was watching this episode and the bad guys keep referring to Hydrabot, it sounds like they say Hydrobot. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a water monster, right? No, it's a Hydra, like a Greek Hydra, with its main head apparently cut off. So now I'm really curious, in Scheider, did the Hydrabot originally have like a main head? Because in the show, it looks like it's already been cut off. I'm assuming maybe it was like in Scheider, the monster had a main head that got cut off, but it was considered too violent to show that over here. So they just cut that scene, but still kept the monster for the rest of it? I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch that Scheider episode to see if that is indeed what they did. Okay, I just watched the Scheider episode, and it turns out the Hydrabot, it did have its head cut off, but it wasn't cut out over here due to it being too violent. It was because it was actually the body of the Scheider counterpart of Oriclon. Also, I figured out where the Indiana Jones thing came from. In Scheider, Scheider opens up the magic door in the pyramid in the cave, and this dart shoots out, and the dart is in VR Troopers, although it's a little bit different, I think. And anyway, it reveals this like mirror on this cave wall, and this light shoots out, hits that, bounces off a thing, and opens up the doorway to the whatever. So yeah, that's kind of an Indiana Jones-esque thing. I don't know if it was specifically based on that in Scheider, but yeah, I guess someone saw that and was like, "Hey, that reminds me of Indiana Jones. Let's go watch Indiana Jones." And then they watched Indiana Jones and decided, let's put a bunch of imagery from this into VR Troopers for no reason. It was a pretty fun two-parter, but overall, it's not far off from the expected standard. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
On the next Saban's VR Troopers, Grimlord wants to turn athletes into mutants.
Every athlete who receives one of these medals will instantly become my slave.
So Doommaster steps into action.
Replace those with Grimlords.
And the effects aren't very sporting.
Where did he go?
So find out if we can reverse Grimlord's mutating metals and save Tim on Saban's VR Troopers.
Today at 5, 4 Central on Fox.